Hey there, sister. Welcome back to the Girl Out of Order podcast. Today's guest has so quickly won my heart. From the moment we first talked, I was like, this woman is not only brilliant, but she's insightful and warm and inspiring. And then come to find out that she was also going to be one of my speaker sisters in the Mic Drop Academy that I'm taking with Jess Ekstrom. And so we've been able to not only get to know each other through the podcast, but I get to observe her in this incredible speaking cohort. And her not only are her insights super sharp, but she is one of the most supportive members of the entire group. So let me tell you a little bit about Lauren Wu. She is a keynote speaker and a former healthcare privacy executive. For more than an entire decade, she held senior leadership roles at healthcare and life sciences companies, which I mean, that just blows my mind. I'm sorry. But these companies include Nvidian Health, Roche, and Exact Sciences. Lauren's work focused on privacy, regulation, and ethical decision making, often behind the scenes, where policies, timelines, and incentives quietly shape who bears the cost of success. Now, if that isn't impressive enough, let me tell you the pivot that this incredible woman had to face. And she's going to tell you more about it during our interview. But 2 years ago, she experienced a significant health event, and it required her to step away from her executive career. She had to truly pivot. And what followed Lauren's health event was not just a recovery, which obviously had to happen, but it was a reckoning. Because what I know and what this woman lives out is that you get to decide if life is happening to you or if life is happening for you. And Lauren Wu is exemplifies living as if life is a gift and it's happening for you. So today, Lauren Wu speaks about rethinking power, not as endurance, control, or output, but as the ability to design systems that allow people to stay whole. Now, if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. Because this woman, she draws from her life experience. She doesn't talk in theory. She has actually walked this walk. And I am so excited to welcome her to the Girl Out of Order podcast. So, welcome to the Girl Out of Order podcast, my friend, Lauren Wu.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, I've been so excited to have you. In my introduction, I let people know that we are Mic Drop Academy sisters, which means we get to see each other a couple times a week for the next, I don't know, I don't even know how many weeks we have left. But I was just so excited to bring you on to the Girl Out of Order podcast because from the moment we met, I was like, oh, I think she's going to be in my life because you are such a delightful person, my friend.
Oh, I feel the same way about you. It was like something just clicked. It was very like kismet.
People ask me all the time when you do podcasts, why do you keep, doing podcasts? What do you love about it? And I do a lot of solo episodes, but this year in 2026, part of my switch is I really want to bring in more guests. And you are such a beautiful reminder of why, because bringing in a powerful people, insightful people, I get all these new friends. And so I'm really excited.
Yes, I know. It's so fun. And it was like really cool too to discover that we have so many connections in what
Hmm.
like where you live, where I used to live, and all these things. It was really fun too. I
Yes.
love it. The world is such a small place. And it's nice to have that. And it makes me just feel like infinitely grateful, for the connections that we're making.
Which is such a perfect segue into introducing who you are to our audience. Because one of the things I said in the intro, and my audience, if you're listening, of course you are, you're going to love her warmth. You're going to love her ebullience. You're going to love her positivity. So, my friend Lauren, if I were to walk up to you on the street, literally, and put a microphone in your face and give you one chance, just one chance. No, I'm kidding. It's not that urgent. Who do you say you are? Introduce yourself to our beautiful community.
Yeah, so I'm Lauren Wu. I'm an attorney, a former ballerina. I am an author, a mother, an investor, an advisor, and a very, very proud survivor of a pulmonary embolism.
Oh my goodness. And I'm going to be really honest with you. After we had our discovery call for the podcast, I had to look it up. I didn't know
Oh,
what it was.
I told you, girl.
Oh, I know, but we were having such a great conversation. It just seemed like a footnote, but I know it was a very profound and unexpected experience that you had. So, explain to us what exactly a pulmonary embolism is and what happened to you. Just tell us your story.
Yeah. So one day I'm giving a 3 hour privacy training. So, the type of law I practice, I'm a privacy, compliance, and regulatory attorney. So, basically, what that means is I create privacy programs for mostly healthcare companies, digital health companies, pharma companies, and I teach them how to protect data and create the programs. So, like when you use an app, all of those deletion requests that you put in, or the, hey, what's going on with my data? All of that stuff has a lawyer in the background. I'm that lawyer, depending on what
Mm,
you're using, right? So I'm in the middle of a 3 hour privacy training and I feel pain in my rib cage.
hmm.
And I'm thinking I'm just did too many workouts with my really, I'm in a sidebar, hot Brazilian trainer that I work out with my husband. Yeah.
That sounds like another podcast.
No, Roberto is awesome. I super miss working out with him. And it was really great bonding with my husband to like have those workouts together. Um,
Mm,
and we had just finished a workout the day before. So I'm like, I must have pulled something doing some kettlebells. No biggie. So I'm giving this presentation, which is normal for me, super high energy, but I'm noticing I'm slow, I'm short of breath. And as a former ballerina and someone who like keeps in pretty good shape, that is very abnormal for me. So my
mm,
husband was like, babe, like I really want you to go to urgent care if you're still in pain tomorrow. So I go to urgent care and I'm in the doctor's office and the doctor's like, let's run through your medical history like one more time. And it turns out
hmm.
I had gone back on birth control pills for perimenopausal symptoms. And she was like, let's order a D-dimer test. Now, D-dimer tests test for blood clots in
Hmm.
your blood.
Did you
And
know
if you're
that when she ordered those? Did you know what that was?
I do know because I'm a healthcare
Oh,
lawyer. So I'm like,
what a
I'm
dumb
all,
question.
no, no, it's not dumb. I happen to work in healthcare. So I like
Yeah.
speak doctor.
I speak divorce, so different language.
Exactly. And so I'm like, oh, D-dimer, got it. Like, totally understand. So she orders the test and she's like, now remember, if this comes back elevated, I need you to rush to the ER. Well,
Oh
three
my.
hours later, it came back super elevated.
Oh wow.
So I call my husband because he's actually at an engagement party that I was supposed to be at, but I wasn't feeling well, obviously. And I'm like, you need to get home. Um, I have to go to the ER. Mom's going to stay with the kids because I have three daughters and we need to rush to the ER. I'm even debating getting into an ambulance at this point, but my husband was close enough that, I thought we could
Mm.
make it work. So I'm kissing my kids goodbye, throwing things in a bag, which, after three births, I know what to take to a hospital. So,
Preach. Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
So, we're getting going. I get to the ER. I know it's bad when they let me into a room immediately
Oh goodness, that never happens. And you're based where at
in the
this
Bay
time?
Area, so just
Okay.
south of San Francisco.
So
And
definitely not easy emergency rooms, I would imagine.
no, although I will tell you, like, I have like exceptional care around me, and which will come in handy in the aftermath of what I now find out about 20 minutes after I get there is a pulmonary embolism, which is, for
Wow.
my case, multiple blood clots in both lungs.
Oh
Now, for
my.
me, I luckily did not need surgery. A lot of people either need surgery or unfortunately pass. They don't catch the
Wow.
blood clots in time. I was very fortunate that at this point they just put me on blood thinners and said, you need to take several weeks off of work and heal and just be on blood thinners potentially for the rest of your life.
Wow.
Um, what I didn't know at the time, however, was that that was just the beginning.
Hmm.
I am still recovering 2.5 years later. I am constantly
Wow.
dizzy. I suffer from cognitive fog. I spent 9 months in a wheelchair and had to relearn how to walk. I
Hmm.
lost the ability to read because for some reason, the pulmonary embolism, the theory is that it broke my limbic system somehow. Your limbic system is like your nerve system. And it basically put my nervous system into a constant state of fight or flight. And
Wow.
so my nervous system basically is like, all we're going to do is focus on living and being, and any upper level functioning is just going to go.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
so, as you can imagine, I'm not practicing law right now because I'm,
Mm-mm.
barely getting by. So, I've spent the last 2.5 years in physical and occupational therapy, going to a pantheon of doctors. I'm feeling the best I've felt in 2.5 years, thanks to some incredible teamwork done by the Palo Alto Medical Foundation and Stanford in partnership.
Wow.
Um, and I really owe it to my team of physicians because there was a time where I really thought I would never read again, that I would never write again.
Wow.
And here I am in Mic Drop Academy with you, delivering keynote speeches
Yeah.
on podcasts. I'm still unfortunately not able to practice law just because the cognitive piece is still a little tricky for me. But I'm
Mm.
walking with a cane. I drove for the first time in 2 years because we bought a Tesla and the self-driving. But yeah, it's been a road, but I'm so grateful because, I could have passed. I could have not recovered at all. And
Mm.
I'm so lucky to live where I live and have the care team I had, and to have the most amazing supportive husband who has been there for me. My mom, who lives with us and has really stepped up and taken care of my children with my husband. I'm just so endlessly blessed. So, yeah, that's the story.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
so Lauren, there's so much there. First of all, as a human and as your friend, I hate that this happened to you because that's the
Thank
human response. It's okay because we can hold both, right? We can
Yeah.
really not like that. I don't even like the word hate. We can really not like the fact that you had to go through this and also hold the strangely wrapped gift that has come out of that. Gifts. I'm sure there's copious amount of gifts. When you think about this forced pivot, this forced rest, this forced relearning, and I know I use that phrase strangely wrapped gifts on purpose because I've been through a lot in my own life and then navigating COVID and having children with mental health problems. Like it's very easy to feel like life is happening to you. It's very
Yes.
tempting. And the world will tell you, well, of course you feel that way. That's justified. But we have a choice, don't we?
Mhm.
We have a choice to decide that life is happening for us, even if it's not a path we wanted to choose. So when you think about this pulmonary embolism and all that it upended for you, what strangely wrapped gifts have come out of this experience for you?
So many. I mean, countless. I will admit I miss my law job so much. I've wanted to be an attorney since I was 5. So if there's one thing I'm grieving a
Mm.
little bit, it is the loss of my legal job, which I hope to have back. I am still hopeful. But the strangely wrapped gifts, to use that phrase, which I love, by the way,
No, it's a great one, isn't it?
it's great. I got my life because I could have lost that. I
Yes.
got 2 years of time with my girls that I would have taken for granted if I was working, because I loved my job so much that I maybe was a tad bit of a workaholic. Just a little.
Takes one to
Because
know one.
I know, I will admit that in that emergency room, I was thinking, did I just give my girls my last kiss?
Mm,
Am I saying goodbye to my husband? But a little bit of work creeped in.
sure.
And that's scary to me because it shouldn't have creeped in
Mm,
at all.
wow.
It shouldn't have. And to me, this opportunity to come back has completely reframed how I will approach work going forward. So
Mm,
in this rebirth, not only did I get a chance to spend this time with my kids, but it's really reframed how I parent, how I show up in
mm.
my relationship with my husband and my
Yes.
mom. I also am going to approach leadership and working differently. So, in the midst of this, as part of my occupational therapy, I started writing a leadership book. And as part of that book, I created the HEART framework. And HEART is an acronym for humanity, environment, alignment, resilience, and trust. And
Mm,
I'm approaching those things in a new way with empathy and authenticity, forward thinking, and really leading from the heart. And I founded a company called Heart Led Leadership, which is a keynote speaking and coaching platform based on this idea.
mm,
And it's values that I'm really going to live in how I approach work and how I hope to teach others to approach their work so that this doesn't happen to others. Because one of the other
mm.
theories that goes along with what happened to me is that this was caused by stress and burnout.
Oh
Um,
boy.
yeah,
Yes.
it
There's
wasn't
such a
just the
connection,
pills.
right? Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to talk over you, my friend. Keep
Oh,
going.
you're good, girl. We're just, vibing.
I
So
know
it's,
I'm like, you're saying so many profound things, but I wanted you to pause because I don't want to pass on by this, Lauren. I wanted you to pause and just speak about what you've learned about the connection between the brain, the body, and the soul.
yeah.
Is that a fair
So
question for what you've gone through?
there is such a connection. So
Mm.
we have, and I learned this from one of the physicians I've seen, we have what's called an internal pharmacy. I'm using her term. I give the credit. She's my integrated medicine doctor. She is incredible. She's actually one of the reasons I'm here today to speak to
Oh.
you and feeling as good as I'm feeling because she does a lot of work with long COVID patients, and
Mm.
some of the treatments I'm undergoing are actually based on long COVID, which is not what I have, but very similar. And what she talks about is the connection between the mind and the body. And a lot of what I have is this cognitive fog, this MAST cell dysfunction,
Mm.
which is all based on your nervous system. So you need to put your nervous system into a state of safety, psychological safety. Well, where else are you possibly not feeling psychologically safe?
Mm.
At work. If you are in a constant
Yeah.
state of stress, if you are feeling burnt out at work, if you are feeling toxic at work, you are not psychologically safe. And thus, you are starting to create a fight and flight mechanism in your body. And that is going to start impacting you negatively. You're creating a lot of bad chemicals. So, what can you do? Right? Yoga, all of those things that they tell you, yes, they help. But ultimately, it's the system we have to
Mm.
change, not the individual. Because you can do all the yoga you want. I was doing everything right and it
Mm.
didn't help me.
Right.
But the
Well, you talk
system
about systems, creating systems that allow people to be whole. What do you mean by that? Give us a really practical way
yeah.
that a system can be designed so that we can be whole beings within it.
Yeah. So, for instance, when you have a meeting, right? I'm going to take a really basic example. Do you walk into a meeting? Does it go the full, let's say, half hour? Why does it need to go the full half hour? Why can't there be a 5-minute break at the end just to give everyone space to go to the next meeting? Is there
Hmm.
an agenda? Do you stick to the agenda? Is there a goal? Is there is and not that the theme of the meeting should be could this have been an email, but could the meeting have been an email,
Hmm.
right? Are there designated speakers at the
Mm.
meeting so that everyone feels that they are heard if they want to be heard? Or in
Mm.
the alternative, if they're not comfortable speaking, they know they're not on the spot so that their stress level comes down. There are
Mm,
ways to design even something as simple as a meeting to accommodate all access points, like, and this is coming from my accessibility angle, to accommodate all access points, all individuals, and also make it capacity enabled, right? And to build in chunks so that people have rest breaks in between. And that's just a meeting. We're not even talking about goal setting, time crunches, overall values, promotions. You start
right.
building all of those things and looking at each incremental step of like jobs in general. And there are so many small tweaks you can make, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be large. They
Right.
can be tiny, but those tiny shifts lead to incremental large gains.
Oh, I love what you just said because on my podcast, we talk a lot about those 2 millimeter shifts you can make in your identity and rewiring your old stories and, working through trauma. It doesn't have to be this grand, massive shift. 2 millimeter shifts a day, like two, this is so little. And if you make those 2 millimeter shifts in the way that people work, in the way that people produce, you're going to get exponentially larger returns. I work from home. I opened up my law firm in December of 2020 in the middle of COVID, which looking back now, I'm thanking God I had no idea how hard that was going to be for all the reasons. And what is also true is during COVID, again, one of those strangely wrapped gifts, I came home as we all got sent home, and I realized I could do this more efficiently. I could give myself more space where I wasn't being watched, I wasn't being, hounded over, and I wasn't having this is something you said that really stuck out to me. I wasn't dealing with useless redundancies that just increase my stress, frustration, and distraction.
Yeah.
And so what you're talking about, I'm sure anybody who's an employee is going like, can you please come talk to my boss? It's like these meetings that are endless or open-ended. You don't know when they're going to end. I mean, I used to go to the bathroom in almost every meeting because I had no idea how long it was going to go. I couldn't sustain my attention, and I had no idea that that was creating stress like what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then on a personal level, right? You can do so much to have intentionality. What you just said too, right? Like you
Mm,
can do intentional changes at home. Like when you take your vitamins, which I take vitamins and supplements every day and a lot of medication. I say, make me healthier, make me more vital. Thank you for this gift, right? Or something like that, like a little mantra just to make it intentional. Well, if we are doing all this stuff to fix ourselves and be intentional, shouldn't
mhm.
we expect that from work where we're paid and where money is being made? Like, if we're expected to do all this on a personal level, we should expect the same thing from work. And I gave you a little tip there from like a personal perspective, but to flip that on the work side, I would expect then that at a meeting, there be an agenda, there be someone watching the clock, keeping everyone on that agenda. And if it doesn't get done, then we need to recalibrate and make sure that the agenda is aligning to what's going on in the meeting. And that expectations are also aligning with our values, because that also
Mm.
creates psychological safety. But our values need to align with empathy and humanity. So when I say that, are we rewarding endurance? Like, or are we rewarding people that are creating problems? So for instance, are
Hmm.
you rewarding the person that's the hero that saves the day? Because if you're doing that, you're creating more problems. You're saying, oh, you saved the day, so you get the gold star. Well, you just promoted the person or gave the person an accolade that basically put out the fire. What about the person that prevented the fire? That's the person that should have been rewarded.
Oh, interesting. So how would you then, let's say you come into a situation like that, how would you then consult them and help an employer? Because if you're, listeners, listen up because this isn't just for this isn't just for people who lead teams. It's also for how you lead your family. It's how you have
Yes.
conversations with your spouse. Like, how would you then guide them to, is it a matter of waking them up? Maybe they just don't see it. Or are people entrenched in just, this is just the way we've always done it? What do you find?
Yeah, so what I've seen is you have to recalibrate how you do employee feedback. You have to recalibrate how you do promotions and look at what is valued. So first you start with the mission statement of either the team or the company, and then you really look to see like what do you say you value? So if for instance, at one of the companies I work, they say compliance is in our DNA. Great. Love that, right? So I take that, so that's one of their values, and then I'm like, okay, so we look at the next level down. What is the team value? Whatever that is, are they living up to those standards? That's the
Mhm.
criteria that you are using rather than, oh, so and so got this amazing settlement or got 20 contracts out the door. Well, did those contracts, what was the value add versus the volume?
Hmm.
Because if you only reward volume, you're rewarding urgency, endurance, etc. But
Oh, okay. Yeah.
if you're rewarding value, one contract might be better than 20.
So let's cross this over into how you can apply these same principles in the personal setting because
Yeah.
I'm totally tracking with you and I get the whole value add. And I know, Lauren, from talking with you and getting to know you, you're really about leading from empathy and authenticity. And so what I'm thinking, and you can help me see if I'm on track or off track a little bit, is that the person that we are at work should be congruent with how we conduct ourselves in our private lives, in our personal lives. Is that how you're saying?
Absolutely. I believe that if I take my values from my home life to work, that makes me a better lawyer. So I
Mm,
happen to work in healthcare. I am always putting the patient first. So I think about it as if I were the patient, what would I want? If I was the patient's wife, what would I want? If I was the patient's husband, child, what would I want? So those
mm,
values make it very human for me. You can do that at home as well, right? So like put yourself in your children's shoes, put yourself in your spouse's shoes. It's easy for me a little bit because I am a certified mediator, so you're trained a little bit like to understand I mean you do divorce, so like it's I think
mm,
ingrained in you a little bit like to have to understand the other side and their perspective. But I think that's one of our superpowers, especially as women, to have empathy, to read the room, to really understand what others are thinking and how they're approaching it and really have this emotional intelligence. And
mm.
if we can bring that to the office, it becomes extra data. And if we treat empathy and authenticity as data, it becomes less of a soft skill and more of a strategic advantage.
Oh, I love that. Oh, this is such fire. This is such fire. And as a fellow attorney, I'm sure that you have come across many attorneys who you're sitting there thinking if they behave that way at home, that family is going to crumble. I'm looking at your face like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, for
And
sure.
and I'm going to be really upfront with you because I had an intervention with Tony Robbins a few years ago where he actually challenged me in the way that I was conducting myself in my marriage and the way I justified it. And what I realized is that, and he's flat out told me it wasn't my realization, I wasn't that quick, is that if you're what the identity that you have in court, which may serve you well there, if you bring that home, and I suspect you are, you're going to destroy your marriage and tear down your man. Is that how you want to be? And it was like, not only did that wake me up to how I was operating within the home, but it woke me up into how I was operating on this constant, intense stress level at work. Now, family law litigation is no picnic. There's a certain amount of stress that's just endemic in it. And like you, my friend, I can choose my state. I can choose my demeanor. There's a reason they call me Little Miss Sunshine at the courthouse. I wasn't 5 years ago, but I've made a decision that I get to choose to live in a beautiful state no matter where I'm at. And I know that you've told me, how did you say it? That people told you smile too much? What was it that people used to say
Yes.
to you? Or maybe they still do.
The feedback I received in my first year at my law firm was that I was too happy and that I smiled too much. And I still am like, how do I fix that? And do I want to? And of course, the answer was I didn't want to, because that's just how I am. You hired me for that way. I'm just going to be me. If you didn't like it then, you shouldn't have hired me. Someone else will hire me for that exact reason, right? And of course, I ended up succeeding very well at that law firm. So it was just one, don't listen to all feedback, because sometimes the feedback you get
Mhm.
is more a reflection of that person than it is of you.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
that is such a mic drop moment. Say that one more
um,
time.
Sometimes feedback is more a reflection of that person than it is of you.
I
And I
love
actually
that.
credit that to my dear law school friend, Lauren Schwartz, who said that to me in response to one of my LinkedIn posts. So I can't take full credit for that mic drop.
But it is
But
beautiful.
yeah, I was like, go Lauren, Lauren Power.
Go, Lauren. And her last name's Power.
Her last name's Schwartz.
Oh, I thought you said Lauren Power. Oh, Lauren
Oh,
Power. I got
Lauren
it. Lauren
Power.
got it. Okay. I was a little
Yeah,
slow. I was like, wait, what? No, but
yeah.
it's true. And I think, I started Girl Out of Order because I was tired of contorting myself to fit a mold I was never designed for. And I started this podcast shortly after I opened my law firm. So in early 2021. And one of the main passions is to help women embrace that not fitting in is the perfect fit. If you stay congruent with who you are, what your values are, what values you will not tolerate, because there's negative and positive values, and you understand that and you are ruthlessly committed to living that way, do you agree that our stress level naturally comes down?
Absolutely. When you try to be something you're not, you are actually adding stress to your plate because you're using energy
Mm,
to wear a mask. And if I were to try to
yes.
present myself as this serious, button down person, which I can be that person. For goodness sake, I'm a former professional ballerina. I can be anything you need me to be, right? Like, but that would be a mask. It wouldn't be me, and you wouldn't be getting
Right.
my authentic self. And frankly, I have made a brand of being this happy, creative, engaging attorney. My trainings are well known for being given in costume, for goodness sake. Like,
Oh my gosh, hold on. You can't just fly past that. What?
yes, I have given privacy trainings in superhero costumes, Renaissance costumes. I've done a music video.
I love that.
Yes, but you know what? It makes it sticky. I forget who wrote the book on stickiness. Forgive me, but there is a whole concept out there called stickiness, and it is all about getting people to remember the concept that you're
Mm,
delivering. And that's our job in privacy and compliance, is to help people not only set up these programs, but to help people remember that you're there as a
yes.
resource and what their roles are. So if I and the Department of Justice, that's what they look for in compliance and privacy programs, is do people know the rules? And so my job is to make sure people know the rules. And so if I have to deliver it in a cape and mask, you betcha I'm gonna. And it's fun for me too. And I've gotten the best feedback on doing things like that. And frankly, it makes it much more fun for me too. No, I can deliver it straight with a smile in, a business suit. Of course I can, but it sure is a lot more fun. Um,
Right.
and I do also want to comment when you were saying earlier about being your authentic self, you know, I do think that the stress we put on ourselves to try to fit molds starts
Mm,
so young. and it's increased because of social media. And I don't want to downplay social media. It plays an important role in our culture today, and I
Right.
understand that. But as you develop your brand, your personal brand in your career, defining yourself in your authentic way is how you differentiate yourself. So why would you
Mhm.
want to be anything other than you? And
You're right. My mom, when I was little, she used to say, start a trend. And it would make me so crazy because when you're, junior high girl or high
oh,
school, like you don't want to start a trend. Like you just want to fit in. All we want to do is fit in. And that's becoming increasingly more difficult and painful. And so, yeah, I agree with you. Social media has its benefits for sure. I mean, you and I, obviously, we both use it and navigate it because we want to increase our impact and our connectivity. But
exactly.
but if it causes you to chisel edges that you want to hold on to because they make you authentically you, then you're not using it properly, or maybe it's using you.
Right. Or if it causes you undue stress. So there was a point in time that I was completely off of social media for my mental health. And I encourage you, if your mental health is struggling because of social media, then get off of it. Like it was the best thing I did for that time period. But that's, everything comes in seasons, and you have to do what's best for yourself in those seasons. And so it's, now I'm back on and things are great because I can put it into its proper context and perspective. But I think a lot of that was dealing with postpartum and things like that. I just wasn't in a place where I could also be on social media. So
Right.
I encourage your listeners to really listen to their inner selves too. And if social media is impacting you negatively, listen to yourself, get off of it, right? It'll still be there. You can come back to it.
Not going anywhere, I fear. So, Lauren, you have obviously, just to bring it back around to where we started, you obviously were forced to make a pivot, and you have,
Yeah.
in my opinion, just reinvented yourself so beautifully. You've rewritten your script. And what I love about the rewriting and women who take what life gives them and they're like, you know what? I hold the pen. I hold the pen. I get to rewrite my identity for this new chapter. I mean, we're in our Mic Drop Academy, we're working on our keynotes, and my keynote title is Who Am I Now? Identity Redesign for Shifting Times. And that's literally what I do here at Girl Out of Order. And what my guests have done is usually there's some sort of reckoning, rebuilding, and rewriting. And what are you most excited about in the way you have been able to excuse me, to in the way that you have rewritten your life, your mission? What excites you the most?
Yeah, it's funny because this is actually the second time I've rewritten my life. So we haven't talked about it, but I actually grew up in an alcoholic household where I was abused.
Mm,
And I chose to be this happy-go-lucky person rather than stay in that abusive cycle. And I owe a lot of that to some of my dear, dear sorority sisters, but also to my husband, who basically was like, we're not going to perpetuate this cycle of yelling and that we're
mm,
not communicating that way. And so a lot of like my personality was choosing the happy path, choosing to communicate differently. And so, for those listeners out there who are coming from that type of a pathway, like you don't have to perpetuate what you grew up with. You can choose a different way, and it is hard.
yes.
And it's so you can rewrite it that way. And I am so proud of the person I am now, because now when I catch myself yelling, I'm like, "Ooh, hold up, kids, sorry about that. That slipped out," or "Hey, Michael, my
Right.
husband, sorry about that. That slipped out." Um, this season of my rewriting, I am most proud of the fact that I am able to surrender to the person I am
Mm,
now. And I don't mean that in a giving up way. I mean that in the best way possible. I am able to greet the person I am now with open arms and excitement and joy, and just say like, wow, this is going to be so cool to be able to be a keynote speaker, to try to change people's lives and how people lead,
mm,
how the systems are built around them. and to really try to make a difference in a new way. I've always loved the work I did in law because I felt like I was helping people and patients in particular. And now I get to do it in a whole new way. And I just am so excited for what that might bring.
That's amazing. And it is such a unique joy for me to be in this group with you and watch the way that you encourage others and the joy with which you are creating your keynote and you're doing the work. Identity rewriting or redesign or reinvention, whatever. I mean, women are always shifting, changing, evolving. And we're extraordinary. We can pivot with the best of them. And when we have a positive mental attitude, when we are choosing to live in a beautiful state the way you and I do, life truly does happen for us. And we are like, okay, what now? Who am I now? And you have so powerfully reinvented yourself and rewritten a script when you could have been very depressed. You could have felt sorry for yourself and you could have given up. I don't think that's how you were ever designed, but neither one of us were born with this simple path. We've both had long and winding roads where things have happened to us that we didn't deserve and that could have really derailed us. And so we come into the final question I have for you, I want to honor you and honor your journey because you are not alone. I know that there are so many people listening who are like, that was my story. Well, if she can do it, I can do it too. And that is what the power of the podcast is about. So, one final question for you, my friend, and don't answer it in your head, just answer it with your heart, which I know you will. If I asked you, what is saving your life right now? What would your answer be?
Wow. It would be my family, and it would be the joy of seeing my kids every day choose their paths. Um, Funny story, one of my daughters actually told me this week that she no longer wants to do ballet. And a year ago, that would have made me bawl my eyes out as a former
Mhm.
ballerina. And I told her how proud I was of her, that she's picking her own path, choosing her own light. And I love that I have that relationship with her and that I am here to see that evolution. And I still have hope for my third, who's 4.
Well, my
But
friend, that's another strangely wrapped gift
it
because you have
is
that connection with her and she's been able to see how you've navigated what you never expected.
exactly. But it's such a blessing to be with them in a way that feels so connected. And also to have it with my mom. So to have 3 generations of women in one house, all so connected. It's just, I don't know. I just feel so endlessly blessed, you know?
Well, you are, and we are blessed to have you on this podcast. So I thank you for being an inspiration. I thank you for being, you are, I look up to you so much, and I am so excited to walk this journey with you. And I can't wait to meet you in real life soon.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you.